Marcus Aurelius had read every Stoic text available to him. He had studied under some of the finest philosophers of his age. He had memorized the arguments, understood the frameworks, could recite the principles in his sleep. And still, every single day, he had to remind himself to actually live them. Welcome back to StoicForge. This is episode 5 of our Meditations audiobook series. Book 5 is the most personal of the Meditations. It is the book where Marcus stops explaining Stoicism and starts confessing how hard it is. He begins in a way that will be familiar to anyone who has ever struggled to get out of bed. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. Not as an emperor. Not as a philosopher. As a human being. A member of a species whose nature, Marcus believed, is to be useful, to contribute, to reason, to act in the world. The objection surfaces immediately, and Marcus writes it down, because he heard it in himself. But it's nicer here in bed. And his response, so you were born to feel nice? He is hard on himself here. Not cruelly, but honestly. He knew the seductive pull of comfort. He had access to more comfort than almost any person in history. And he wrote, over and over, that comfort is not the goal. The work is the goal. But what is the work? Book 5 is an answer to that question. Begin the morning by saying to thyself, today I shall meet with meddling, ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable men. All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil. This is the second time Marcus writes a version of this opening. He first wrote it in Book 2. But here, in Book 5, the emphasis is different. In Book 2, the focus was on preparation. Knowing what's coming so you're not surprised. In Book 5, the focus is on understanding. Why do difficult people behave as they do? Because they don't know any better. They are not evil. They are ignorant. And ignorance, unlike malice, can be met with patience rather than contempt. This is not a soft insight. It is a demanding one. Because it means that every time someone frustrates you, cuts you off, dismisses you, or acts against your interests, your first job is not to react. Your first job is to understand. A man's life is a mere moment, his existence a flux, his perception clouded, his body's composition corruptible. Marcus catalogues the limitations of human existence not to depress himself but to locate himself within them. He is not above the struggle. He is in it. His perceptions are clouded just like everyone else's. His body is decaying just like everyone else's. His moment is just as brief. And from that common ground, that shared fragility, he reaches for something that surprised even him. Compassion. That which is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee. Marcus ruled an empire of tens of millions. Every decision he made cascaded outward in ways he couldn't fully predict. And he chose, as a working principle, to ask not what is good for me, but what is good for the whole. This is not political philosophy. It is personal philosophy. It asks, when you are making decisions in your own life, in your relationships, your work, your community, are you asking what is good for the bee alone? Or what is good for the swarm? Book 5 is where Marcus confronts what might be the central difficulty of Stoicism in practice. It requires constant repetition. You don't do the work once and become Stoic. You don't have one breakthrough moment and arrive. You do the work today. And tomorrow. And the day after, when you are tired and irritated and the insights of yesterday feel very. Thank you for listening. If these words moved you to act, not just think, subscribe to StoicForge so you never miss an episode. Leave a like if Book 5 reminded you why the work matters. Episode 6 is next, the obstacle is the path. Marcus explores discipline, not as punishment, but as freedom.